The opinions expressed on the following audio program are solely those of the host and the guests. Burner Podcast is an independently produced, not-for-profit show and is not associated with the Burning Man organization or its subsidiaries. The views expressed are not representative of the entire Burning Man community and are presented here for entertainment purposes only. In short, calm the fuck down. It's just a podcast.
All right, it's episode number 70, and it is 291 days till the man burns as of this recording. Shout out to Jeffrey Michael. He pinged me on Twitter to say that he's just really enjoying the show and having a good time. And Victoria Davies left us a comment and really loved episode number 66 of the show. That was the post-Burning Man 2017 chat with Halcyon. She is with the Wishmaker camp and was really happy to hear her camp mentioned on the show. I want to thank both of you and all of the listeners for all the love that you're giving us. We're receiving your messages. We appreciate it. This is just, it's really awesome. I'm always helps to hear back from you guys. Love you guys. I am seeing a lot of images coming back from Catharsis on the Mall right now, which is fucking amazing. Catharsis is an annual 10 Principle event that's happening in Washington, D.C., on the Mall, as the name would say. It is a free and open to the public event in our nation's capital with the spirit of civic responsibility at the forefront. I'm seeing Abraxas on the lawn. Halcyon is like halcyoning all over the Washington Monument. Learn more over at catharsisonthemall.com. It looks like a really cool event. I'd love to make it out next year. Thank goodness there is no shortage of burner events to attend here in Southern California. So today's episode, we're just going to get right into it because there's a bunch of explanations. Today's episode is a DJ roundtable we've been wanting to do for a while at this last Utopia. That's this our San Diego regional burn. I was journeying through some art pieces and this music just catches me like right from across the way, and I immediately know who the track is by. And I walk up to the stage and I see that Tony, the man in pink, is spinning. Whom you're going to get to know intimately well shortly. And I run up to him and I yell out, "Shingo Nakamura!" And Tony just flips his shit at the fact that there was someone there who knew this Japanese progressive house producer. So then we geeked out a bit about Japanese progressive house. And I bitched about how fucked mainstream progressive house has gotten. And we don't understand why they have the same subgenre label for whatever the fuck it is that you're hearing at EDC, and then real progressive house like Shingo Nakamura. And I think that's when we started to throw around the idea of doing this DJ roundtable episode, and came to what you're about to hear today. My thought was to bring a couple of seasoned Black Rock City vets together to share stories and advice for all of you crazy fuckers who are considering bringing your decks out into the dust. So flash forward back to San Diego, and we are joined by Navjeet Sarna, who is the producer and host of Burner Podcast Presents Alkaline, our DJ mix show, which you might be sick of hearing me talk about by now. And Gina Calderoni, huge thanks to our friend Leia, by the way, from Shangri-La Lawless for making that happen, because Gina was fucking awesome. So anyway, listener, I never bullshit you. I mean, I feel like sometimes I bullshit the interview subject, but I never bullshit you. I don't know who most of you are, obviously. I know some of you, but I don't know most of you. But I feel like we have a good relationship, you and I. You trust me to be honest with you about all these recordings and the things that go on behind the scenes. I never BS you or try to give you... I try to give you full transparency. And I trust you not to report me to the proper authorities for some of the stories that come out of these recordings. When we first started recording, I honestly got a little nervous because, as you will hear very shortly, Tony is a big personality. It just personality is just huge. He just flops, like throws it right on the desk. When Tony is in a room, you will fucking pay attention to Tony, whether you like it or not. And every part of Tony, how he talks, how he spins, how he looks, how he dresses, or doesn't, demands your attention. Like, fuck you, don't you fucking dare look away, you kind of attention. So here I was kind of nervous about how I'm going to navigate this conversation, because Nav is like a little bit more soft-spoken, as you've heard him on the show in the past. And if you listen to Alkaline, you hear him in the intro. And he has like this like very subtle hint of a British accent from when he lived in London for like 6 months. And then Gina, I really didn't know what to expect from Gina. I had never met her before. And I knew she was walking into like this energy that was already in there. So I was a little nervous about how this was going to play out. And these are the kind of things that I, as the host and interviewer, have to juggle when we do these roundtables. I have to kind of try to create some sort of a consistent energy among the 4 different voices, depending on how many people you have. But then, of course, magic ended up happening as everyone kind of got settled in and got comfortable. And as you hear in the background, people got really comfortable. And it turns into, you'll know what that means when you hear the interview. It turns into exactly the kind of show that we were scheming to have. Actually, Nav shares a really great DJ Panic story. Gina has a wonderful presence. Like, she's just really impossible not to fall in love with. And Tony, of course, he was awesome. It's obvious that this man absolutely loved to just geek the fuck out with these other DJs about DJ shit. So it was exactly the kind of conversation that I was hoping to hear, and that's the direction that it went. What you're about to hear is exactly what happens when 3 seasoned DJs are put into a room together and have that inside the beltway kind of conversation that pros in any field have when the rest of us normies have left the premises. So you're going to hear some stories about everyone's first burn experiences, adventures in spinning in the harsh atmosphere of Black Rock Desert, some regional stuff. My favorite topic, of course, that I always try to get to in all the interviews is the nitty-gritty little details of shit that pros have to deal with and worry about that most people have never even thought about before. And here's the thing, irony of ironies, we do an episode on with sound professionals, and it's all about recording shit and recording equipment. And what happens? Our recording equipment fails 15 minutes before we're done. And then the backup recording apparently crashed as well. The recording just did not work. I know. What? How the fuck that happened? Both of them? Apparently you were just not meant to hear that last 15 minutes. I'd normally be super upset and bummed, but I don't think you're going to miss anything super intense or important. It's mostly us talking about how we really need to do a follow-up interview because we could have recorded for another 6 hours, no problem. The thing that got cut off that I wanted to make sure that you listeners do hear is my gratitude for what the DJs do in our community. I'm not going to do the whole long sappy speech that I did in the recording, but there's a lot of snarky jokes about people with thumb drives and here comes another fucking DJ at Burning Man. But man, especially after doing this show, I got to tell you, I appreciate our DJs more than ever for making it seem so easy. The easier an artist makes something seem, the more evidence that is of how long they've been working at their craft. I mean, I bitch about bringing my camera, and these people are risking way more than that to make us dance. So seriously, thank you. Thank you to all of the DJs in the community for showing up to your set times, for those of you that do, and facilitating these beautiful, amazing memories for us. We thank you from the Burner Podcast team for all that you do for us. After the conversation, do stick around. We're going to play about an hour of Tony's set from, it's a set that he did with Amanda Marks, the violin girl, which was recorded live Tuesday night at Burning Man this year on the Calliope art car at Camp Walter. They were parked over there at Camp Walter and just played. They were rocking the annual Pink Party, so if you were there, this may bring you right back to the playa. So let's go ahead and get into it. Today's episode is entitled Dust on the Fader. Seriously though, by the end of this recording, I felt like I was just fucking dad. Like, put it forth to me. I go by Mr. Arash, even though nobody calls me Mr. Welcome to Burner Podcast.
On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The first thing I met was the flowers above and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no name.
But it's totally unnecessary because it's basically just us sitting around bullshitting anyway. But
true story.
dude, what is it? No, right now you were talking about like you as soon as you got on Playa this year, you got heat stroke.
Yeah, heat stroke. You know, I'm a veteran burner. This was my 13th burn in a row. I've lived through so much shit out there. It's insane. And, you know, even being as prepared as I am and whatnot, I still, it just, 116 degrees the moment I hit Playa, and then had a couple drinks at my favorite bar, the last bar standing, as we came through the city.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got to camp and started building, I felt it and I knew right away.
Dude, you're not the first person. We know multiple people that got heat stroke this year. Joyous from a Pink Heart, when she was working with us on the Journey build, she ended up having heat stroke as well. This year was brutal when it came to heat.
It personally, for me, it was my favorite for the simple fact that I'm a pussy when it comes to the cold. And so when it comes to that, the fact I could still be butt naked at 3 o'clock in the morning was heaven to me, man.
Right.
I didn't have to deal with the cold at all this year, and it was fucking glorious.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for me, dude. If I got to deal with that and put on layers, it just makes my nights miserable, especially when I got big gigs lined up.
No, I'd tell you this, like, I was super irritated about the heat, specifically because I had this, like, really badass coat that I wanted to wear. And it was like...
And you didn't even have a chance, dude.
It was so fucking hot.
It wasn't even hoodie weather, man. It was fucking glorious. Oh, if every year of Burning Man would be so good. I've never seen weather like that out there in all my years out there.
Yeah,
I've never even heard. I've talked with veterans that got fucking 10 years on mine.
Yeah.
And
no, it was brutal. It was brutal. I can tell you this, though. I mean, I don't know if this is a contributing factor, but I'm not going to say an easy time dealing with the heat, but I had no problem continuing to build, and they kept like giving us breaks and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm good. And I want to say it's because my people were bred for that kind of weather, to be out in the heat building shit in the desert.
Why you gotta get all racial
I'm
with
just
it,
saying,
dude?
like, a lot of the white people that I know immediately were like, oh my god, it's so hot.
No, see, I never said that, though. The second it's that hot, I'm like, yes! Like, I'll bring it on. Like, I don't care if I have heat stroke. I'd rather be in that much heat than cold any fucking day of the week.
Well, listen, we just started recording anyway, so you guys arrived just in time. But I'm gonna...
I guess we should do some introductions. Right?
Yeah, that's what I want. Thanks, co-host. We're gonna go around the room. I want each of you to introduce yourselves. It's not because I don't know who you are, it's so that the listeners can associate a voice with the name. I don't know who this guy is, but you're gonna introduce yourself. You are going to give the first year that you burned. And I want to hear a story about the first time that you had a musical experience out there. Like either you're watching a DJ or watching somebody, you were setting up yourself or you were playing yourself. That moment where like every cell in your body started to vibrate and you're like, I can't wait to fucking do this. I can't wait to play music out here in the desert in the most inhospitable environment, at least in Nevada. So we're going to start on this side of the room with Tony.
My name is Tony K, the Man in Pink. I'm a 13-year veteran burner. I do Calliope out there, the paint party for Walter. And, we did Tenere this last year. Shit, my first burn, 2005.
Might I also add the most magnificent butt this side of Black Rock City? Look for any excuse to show.
I swear my ass is more famous than I am. It's fucking ridiculous. First year, 2005, Psyche. Dude, can I get some of that barrel or that drum?
Yeah, do you want me to roll it? I'm really good at this.
Oh, no, girl, this is what I do for a living. So, yeah, all right. God, I got to think about this. This is a fucking long time ago. I was with Camp Jungle Gin in the Synapse Village, bunch of Colorado kids with some legends, Chris Irving, Smiley. I think DJ Dan was with us that year. We had a big dome and, fucking Jungle Gym and all the shit. And I remember for my first time, I must have been 11, 12 years into my career as a DJ by that point.
Oh, in your career. I thought you were going to say 12 years old.
No. I was just turned 22. Just had suffered a heart attack 3 months prior to going to Burning Man for my first time. And I remember being very humbled, and there was so much. You're trying to absorb so much information at once in a place, because this was pre-Facebook, pre all the photos on the internet. You couldn't just Google what Burning Man looks like. I didn't know what the playa was. Driving to Burning Man from Colorado, I was like, playa bound? What does this mean? Like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, so they start telling me, and I don't understand. I had the hardest time going, well, where's the main stage? And they're like, there is no main stage. And I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. How is there not a main stage? And they're like, just shut up and fucking get in the car. Like, you'll figure it out. And I remember being there just in awe. I was just crying tears. I took like a quarter of mushrooms and I didn't even feel it, because that you're just so high from being there, and after the heart attack. And I just remember crying obsessively, and then finally being able to get on the decks in our dome for the first time, and realizing when I'm doing it, I'm like, this is not a proper stage to be doing this in, because the dome was so closed off, and we had this one little door, but we decorated it so it looked like a fucking jungle, and it was, we were all just so gung-ho about this, and then I get there and I realize real quick, I'm like, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I want to do this big, but where do you start? How do you get to the big stages? Because you can't obviously walk up to these guys and be like, I want to fucking play. Mm-hmm. They're like, who the hell are you? This is now. So it took years, and years of putting in work to even get to a place where I could really feel like I was contributing to the playa. Not like I'm just some dude running around camp to camp to camp going, can I play on your system? Like, I really want to DJ at Burning Man.
Your moment.
Bigger moment?
No. Was that your moment? Like that very first time you got on the decks? Was that your first burn you were spinning?
Yeah, first burn. I got to play. I got to play a couple other camp. I got to play the Moonshine Tavern, which was still. I wish they were still around. Well, they're still secretly around. Hush, hush, if you know. Those of us who know. But the Moonshine Tavern was like my favorite fucking place to play back in the day, because it's moonshine on tap, and these dudes just got down there right on the fucking Esplanade by Center Camp, and it was beautiful.
So you were DJing already for like 12 years.
Before I went to Burning Man.
So it was just sort of like your autopilot.
It was a natural progression for me. Being a DJ from Denver, I started doing pre-parties for burners at their fundraisers and stuff. Not really knowing what I was getting myself into, just, fucking fire comes out and everybody's in costume, and I'm the only one standing there in like a fucking Aloha shirt going, I'm a little out of place right now, but I like these people, so and I was given a ticket to Burning Man in 2004. Yeah. And I didn't go because I was on like 10 different drugs at the time, and I was up for a week, and it was just not the right timing, and then I had a heart attack, a few months after that, and then it was like, all right, I'm going to Burning Man now. I need to change my life. And that moment of being there made me realize how much talent I had and how I was just throwing it all away for cocaine. Yeah. It's not a really good place to be in your life. So
you could totally throw it away for much better drugs.
So much better drugs, dude. So much better drugs. And the thing about it for me is, if I wouldn't have went to Burning Man for the first time, and I wouldn't have been able to have that musical experience and then go out with that crew at night and get to see and hear. I mean, I can still remember, even though it was so long ago, some of the best music I've ever heard in my life in my head. I can recall this. and I don't know what it's called. I don't even know what to classify it as a genre, because some of the music that was out back then, there was so much more production. There was people that built this music for the burn. I remember being in camps where they were bouncing sound from speaker to speaker using things I've never seen before and doing all these crazy techniques, and it was just like people pulling a little radio flyer with a fucking speaker. They didn't give a fuck who cared about their music. They just wanted to express themselves in that way, just cruising around fucked up on bikes, and you see it all over, and it's just like
that's badass.
This cacophony. But as a DJ, I understand it. I can, differentiate, and I hear things out on Playa of, oh, I know that artist. That's Joey's music. Oh, that's this person.
Speaking of which, I want to come back to more of those stories, but real quick, this is fun for the listeners. Joe Man, did you meet him when you were out in Denver?
Me and Joey got to know each other in Denver.
Mancuso's last name.
Mancuso, yeah, Joe Man. He's one of the most brilliant producers I've ever known.
Joe Man's music is the opening theme to this show, which you guys have been listening to for now, I don't know, this will be episode 70. This is going to be episode 70, it's going up.
Which track did you choose?
Horse with No Name.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Okay, there's a good story
about
that.
You connected me to Joey. Yeah, and that's how, and I asked them, like, hey, can I use this track as the opening theme? So the song that you guys heard as the opening intro to this show.
I told him we were going to be doing this, and because I played, I always play some of his music. He's one of my best friends.
He's a phenomenal producer.
The man is the best producer since BT, dude. Yeah. I swear up and down. The guy is just fucking brilliant. The work he's done with That's Always Sunny in Philadelphia to Wally to he does big video game soundtracks, and he's going to be doing the soundtrack for the Burning Man documentary that I'm on this next year.
Nice. So that's fucking awesome.
We're paying him a lot of money to do it. And
that's
it's for a good cause.
So maybe finally he'll listen to an episode of this show.
Trust me, I'm making sure he listens to this show. It's actually his birthday today.
Oh, wow.
So happy birthday to Joey. Fucking love you, man. And Allie as well. And their wonderful son, Asher. Well, her son, his stepson.
So. No, he's fully taken on that role. I've only watched him on Facebook from a distance.
He's one remarkable man, and I am very honored and blessed to be able to play his music and share it with everybody. And that's what I'm saying. Being out on Playa and I hear Dayman Step, or I hear him and Leah Luna playing out there, just random people playing their music, and it's just like, fuck. And if you've never checked it out, you got to check it out on his YouTube, Joman, Joman. He's one of a kind. Check out all of his shit. He does all of his own editing to the videos as well. The guy is brilliant.
He's dope. That's a great little bit of trivia for the opening of the conversation.
Well, and also, actually, I should probably grab the book here in a minute. He's the first person to play on Calliope with me when we did the Maiden Voyage.
Nice.
Because I've been their resident for 5 years now, and he was the first person. I'll grab that book to pass around in a little bit. The
listeners will love that when we look at a book together.
Yeah, I'm telling you what. Actually, I just in spirit of his birthday and this whole thing, I posted it on my Facebook as my background, whatever the fuck they call it.
That's awesome.
So it's the whole spread of us in that book. It was a big documentary book that was done in 2013. And the only regret to that book is my effigy didn't get in it that year. So, but it's okay. It was fun. It was amazing, and I'm still so happy and proud to be a part of what Walter does and doing these things with them. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think we should.
Let's go around to Nav. Go ahead.
This is Navjeet. Let's see, my first year at Burning Man was...
Navjeet, to clarify, the Burner Podcast Network music editor and producer of Burner Podcast Presents Alkaline. And if you're a regular listener to the show, there's probably a story about Navjeet on pretty much every episode of the show. At some point, Nav comes up in conversation.
So first year was 2013. That was interesting because I think I decided to go like 3 weeks before the burn. Yeah. And then everyone that is in the community was like, wait, you're deciding 3 weeks before? I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be I got a list and I'm gonna get all the things and check it off, and I made it happen. It was a point in my life where I really needed to start doing something different, and going out to Burning Man was the beginning of that journey.
You had a burn in a little tent with no shade structure.
Yeah.
Were you sharing that with somebody?
No, it was a $40 Coleman tent from Costco or something, and no shade, and before we started the show, we were talking about heat stroke. Like, I went in real hot and heavy the first day at Burning Man, and
your whole camp didn't have shade.
The only part. Rookies. I think Brett and Brandon Colt were the only ones that were like, yeah, we have a hex shirt.
How many people are you?
It was like 10 or 11 of us. Yeah.
No shade.
Though,
just tent.
Well, no, we had a main living room that had shade. Okay. We had a shade structure for our kitchen and our living room, but the majority of the tents didn't have a shade structure, which just doesn't allow you to sleep at all. Ended up sleeping out in the kitchen most of the time.
Because it was the only shade.
It was the only shade that we had.
Shit, dude. That's so
funny. Last question about your camp before you get into these first. So how many DJs did you have with your crew?
Let's see, John Dayton.
John Dayton. One of Founders Love Life.
Yeah, Founders Love Life. Amanda Panda.
Veteran. Now goes by Malcolm Brown.
Yes, now goes by Malcolm Brown.
Does she really? I didn't know that.
She spun our Alkaline live event.
Oh, shoot.
Me and I think everyone else is an artist in some way, but I think it was just the three of us.
Yeah.
I could be blanking on somebody. It was quite the weekend.
Yeah.
Were you Weekend Warriors?
No. I mean, just it was quite the weekend.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I facts with you.
I think just the three of us. I could just be blanking.
So, how many years?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
3 previous years? What was your first year?
You skipped 1 year.
I skipped 1 year. Well, I didn't skip it. I fucking got a fake ticket.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's a skip.
What?
I wasn't planning on skipping it. We made it to Reno.
You got screwed?
Wow.
We made it out to Reno. My friends flew in from England. I picked them up in LA, drove to San Francisco, went to a wedding in Napa, dealt with the earthquake that happened in 2014 in Napa. Made it out to Reno, and we get there Sunday. No tickets, and we're like on Craigslist trying to find tickets. Like, didn't really have
airport.
Yeah, didn't really have the
airport
network
or GSR.
Yeah, that's good.
Those are the places.
That's important information now. 3
years. Seriously, all right. For future burners, if you're fucked in Reno, airport, bus stops, GSR, Grand Sierra Resort, fucking. Go to where the burners are.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where you'll find a fucking ticket. You'll find sympathy and empathy. Yeah. You'll go home. I promise.
Yeah. We were at the Circus.
No, dude,
it was the cheapest hotel room we could find.
You got to be at the Peppermill GSR.
Right. Yeah.
Because like Bronner's. Spoiler alert, that's where Bronner's is always at. Is Peppermill, because they're like, fuck GSR. There's too many goddamn people in here.
Yeah.
We want our own shit. Right. And I mean, like not this last year, but the year before when I was, I got left on Playa.
Yeah.
Not my first rodeo. I literally hitchhiked 4 of the 5 last years. I've hitchhiked out, so not a big deal. Like, whatever. I was like, well, Bronner's crew is from SD. All right. Yeah. And I just go and I'm like, hey, can I crew with you guys? Just get me home. That's all I ask. And they're like, done. So by the end of, we're there an extra week or whatever. And by the end of that, they offered me 2 jobs. Nice. And I'm like, I turned them down right away. I'm like, I'm not.
It'll turn out great.
But I'll always crew with you. And so they're like, we're going to take care of you. Don't worry about it. And they bring us to the Peppermill. And we literally took over the fucking pool. We had people, I'm not naming names, on the statue in the middle of the pool, the statue that's like spurting water everywhere, like fucking riding that shit. Yeah. They didn't give a fuck, dude. We're smoking, they didn't give a shit, dude. It was really cool.
That sounds like it should be its own podcast right there.
We get into all these
stories from the Peppermill. Yeah, so that year we ended up camping in South Lake Tahoe and had a blast doing that. And we had our own little Burning Man. We made a little effigy, like a 5-foot effigy, and we burned that.
Thanks.
So the story of my first, that first moment not DJing, but seeing music out there. It's a big cliche, but it was at Robot Heart Sunrise. You know, yeah, exactly. Noob shit, like not knowing anything and being a techno head, just following artists and like, oh, I want to really catch this guy, and I don't even know who was playing, but it was one of those moments where you get to really experience the playa for what it is, the flatness of it, and seeing the sunrise come up, and
that is a beautiful
just
moment.
Beams of light going through the clouds, and it was one of those things that I think I just watched The Secret.
Oh, now we're really sparking.
We're really good. And I'm like,
you're just blissing the fuck out of that moment.
I'm like,
Jesus, dude.
I hadn't seen Dayton and Amanda in like a day and a half, and where all the, you know, once you get to the burn, the camp, everyone just kind of does their own thing. You link up when you link up, and I'm like sitting there with my buddy Hayden and just just blown away by the sunrise. I'm like, man.
Hayden, hold on. Is this where you guys were trying to roll a joint that day in the middle of like?
That was earlier that night where I ended up.
Hayden the miscreant.
Yeah, Hayden the miscreant.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Hayden was on this show when he was one of the candidates for SD Cap.
Right. So, that was the night we ended up.
Oh.
Yeah, we rolled a spliff and like 40-mile-per-hour wind.
Yeah.
Inside a triangle that we found somewhere.
It's so funny because you had told me the story.
That's impressive.
No, it was. No, he was telling me the story about them trying to roll this spliff in the 40 miles, like trying to find a place to block the wind just long enough to make this happen. And then, like, I hadn't met Hayden yet. And then I became friends with Hayden totally independently of you. And then one day we hung out and you guys were, oh shit, this is the guy I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's how the connection came.
So I was just like, yeah, I really wish, Amanda, I fucking run into those guys. I really want to share this musical moment with them. It's fucking amazing. And I turn around as I'm saying that, and John and Amanda are walking up, and just like everything comes together. You know, you've got this amazing DJ set happening, you've got the scenery of the playa, and then just how things come together out there, which we've all experienced in our own right. Various different ways. So.
You had multiple layers. You had your playa synchronicity moment. You had your sunrise moment.
We call that kismet.
Yeah, kismet.
That's what it's just where everything comes together just fucking perfectly without even stress. Yeah. It just happens.
The perfect emotional universal orgasm.
And this is the experience of Burning Man though. And you'll see it. The more you go, the more years you get under your belt, it all just coalesces in things year after year. I mean, I've been out there before, gotten off the decks and had, guys come up to me, oh my God, who are you? And then I tell my name and they're like, you're fucking kidding me. I listened to you for the last X amount of years. You made my burn all these years. And I'm like, I can't. That's when it really hits you that you're affecting people with just doing what you enjoy, just getting out there and contributing whatever it is you're contributing. Music is obviously one of the biggest contributions next to the art that you see. But that feeling never goes away. That's why you keep doing it. That's why you want to do bigger shit to affect a bigger audience. Because if they like what you do, I mean, every year at the Pink Party, we estimate about 15,000 people show up. And that's not by accident. That's literally by design. Yeah. And you've seen what Walter does, and they step up their fucking game every year, dude. It's really impressive. So.
We're looking forward to doing a Walter show soon.
Oh, you got to get out and go talk to Anna and Rod and all that. And fucking Ryan, dude. They're some of the coolest people on the planet.
Yeah. Everybody says so.
Trust me, they'll be listening to this too. I've told them, like, everybody, I'm on a podcast, so all these people are involved now. So it's going to be good.
All right, yeah.
My turn. Hi.
Aloha.
Hi. I'm Gina Calderoni. Let's see. My first year was the year 2009. I was in Hollywood, California, being a punk rocker at the time. Living the life. I had moved from Texas a few years before then, after I graduated from a communications and production degree. So then I did the deed and moved to California, to LA, and then I was there for a while, and then I was DJing punk rock dive bars and anywhere else in between, like Hollywood nightclubs.
What do you DJ at a punk rock dive bar?
Oh my God.
Just gonna ask that, actually. Yeah. What the fuck do
The
you play?
Ramones, the Sex Pistols, anything that's like hair metal
you're just doing
bands.
break mixes.
Oh
then.
yeah,
just
it
real
was.
quick break
There was no
mixes.
BPM mixing.
Okay,
it was
alright.
like, I mean, it was vinyl back in the day.
Right.
So
How long have you been mixing?
for like 12 years, 13, around there. I started in college back in San Antonio. At the University of the Incarnate Word. Yeah, so, and then, I graduated, and then I said, my mom was like, move back to Brownsville, honey. And I said, hell no, Mama. And packing my bags, and I'm going out west. Yeah. And so then I was DJing with a friend of mine, a girlfriend who I went to Coachella with that year for the first time, DJ Aura. And so she said, let's go to Burning Man, babe. She's like, I got you a ticket. You just gotta come play with me. And so I'm like, okay, so what's our DJ name gonna be? I'm Gina. She's DJ Aura, and then she
Gina?
just said, let's just be or&Gina.
That's brilliant. I like
We'll
that.
just be handing out or&Ginas with champagne.
Yeah. That's great.
Fuck it.
Oh, shit. Where was I then?
Park.
2009?
Well, 2009, so we drove.
Where were you camped that year?
So we drove our friend in an RV in my first introduction to nitrous. He was a dentist, and
Oh, he had the good shit.
so we're on our way up to the burn, and we have these other different DJs. We're going to camp at the Philadelphia Experiment, the PEX camp.
Oh shit, I remember hearing
So
about
we
that.
were the camp within the camp that was called Chillax, because they were like, we don't want to do a lot of work. We're just going to set up, put a big, shade structure and just chillax. And so, because it was so fun that year, because I was such a virgin where everything, was sparkle eyes, like everything just was fascinating.
Were you still playing punk rock music back then?
No.
What'd you play at the burn that
So
year?
I would always, when I played punk rock music, that wasn't the only thing I played. That was just, paying the bills.
I'm thinking
and
for
just,
like a boat rock type of girl.
And boat rock.
You never played a boat rock party?
Oh, I've played boats before, yeah.
No. Boat rock. It's like a whole genre.
Ooh, you gotta tell me about it.
I'm talking about B-52s
Oh.
to fucking Slayer to fucking Pat
Done.
Benatar.
Done.
Okay, yeah. I paid you for a boat rock.
Oh, yeah.
fucking
I
chick
mean,
all
I've played
day.
all over from in LA, that's what I would do for money, for a living, because one of the things, because out there it's just, the cost of living and stuff.
Right,
so
right.
I was like, and because I also had just moved, so I wanted to play everywhere. I was like, nightclub, I'm there, hip hop
I know
club,
that
fuck
hunger.
yeah.
I know that hunger.
What were you guys playing at the burn?
Oh, so at the burn, I mean, it was house. House is my, so.
4-4 on the floor, baby.
I mean,
Gotta
like
love it.
Deep House, Tech House, Funky House.
See, it's
Daytime
classic. It's
house.
timeless. It never goes out.
It's so good. So I just that's my BPM. Like, I mean, anywhere from like 125, 124.
yeah.
I mean, recently I've dabbled into the 110s.
It's the
slow
heartbeat BPM, right?
progression.
Is that am I pulling that on my
Yes.
128.
128 is the
It's
heartbeat.
between 125 and 128 is
So
technically.
trance is the heartbeat?
Yeah, that's why
there's
progressive. Think about how well progressive
let it-
goes over. This is a big reason that I did a progressive only format at Tenere this year under the tree. I don't know if you're out there this year. The tree of Tenere, the giant LED
Oh, I
tree.
saw.
that's-
I saw.
Hold the tree story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Finish
okay.
this, and then we're gonna get to that.
So that was my first year, my introduction to the burn.
It's a good year.
And so then the next year, well, actually, that year, we were just riding bikes around and just seeing all our friends, going across from playa to playa, and just fascinated. So the next year, Sarah and I, DJ Aura, we both wanted to camp with the Nuts. I know you guys met the Nuts. Nuts camp. They're from the 9 and G usually. C.
Nuts?
Like almonds?
Nuts. Well, first, I mean, that would have been their 7th year.
After this long, it's still not even hear of these cans.
There were Smurf nuts,
70,000
different
people.
kinds of
macadamia
nuts.
How about like dude nuts?
I mean, it was a whole theme. Yeah, squirrel nuts.
Just any kind of nuts.
We're just nuts. Yeah. And so
I think that's what you put down.
Yeah, I think you guys would like the camp. It was just, a lot of people from Hollywood that had 3 art cars. So then that was my introduction to the art cars, where I had one of my best favorite moments out there. And still to this day, like, it totally changed my life because it was actually an art car from my friends, the Dirty Beatles.
Oh, Danny's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I love her. They're amazing people.
So actually it was one of those moments that you guys were talking about where it was like epiphany manifesting, where it was my birthday, because it's always my birthday during the burn.
What's your birthday?
August 28th.
Nice. Oh, the day before Jackson's.
So it was like, all I want for my birthday is to ride in an art car. And so, sure enough, 10 minutes later, the Boogaloo rolls up. And that's their art car. It's this giant converted short bus, and they've converted it into a big Beetle. It's got like antennas, it's got like little wings, it's just glorious. And so there it goes, riding along, pulling into my camp, and says, hey, we're just about to go on an art tour. Do you want to come DJ for us?
What time of the day is this?
This was during the day. They had just gotten their art daytime license thing. Yeah. Actually they were on their way to go get it, so we were going to be riding dirty. Yeah. Remember that? I remember that. And so, sure enough, awesome. I just said, hey guys, I'm just going to go get my laptop, because at that point I had switched to Serato. And I said, who's coming with me? And so I had like a big crew. How many can we fit? Yeah. And so, they just all came with me, and I had just the most amazing experience at DJing on top of a vehicle, where back in the day it was hard, because back in the day I was playing on needles.
Okay, so was that what you first played on at Burning Man? Was Serato?
Was Serato with needles, because
they actually put that on the art car.
I was moving from. Yes, I know.
I love it.
I was moving from, because we would scratch there too. I mean, you can't scratch on CDJ.
So, hold on, I just want to
you can.
Well, I mean.
But not like you can on vinyl.
Let me clarify right now for the listeners, and only partly for me. So you didn't have actual vinyl. Did you have a stack of vinyls with you, or is it just Serato? Like
it was. So when you play Serato, the vinyl is the control record.
Right.
So anything on your computer, you can now play and control on vinyl, like if it were your vinyl. So all you can
USB with you, or did you have a laptop?
No, it was
USBs didn't take a hold until a couple years.
Yeah, so it's a laptop, a little hub that connects. I mean, do you want to?
I'll convert it to
like
Arash.
It's a thing and then a thing.
I'll convert it to Arash.
Or layman, as we commonly know it.
RCA.
Arash, and also the people listening to the conversation who might not have any fucking idea.
So basically how it works is there's a vinyl record that has a digital signal in it. It sounds like white noise, basically. That white noise gets mapped to the MP3. Mm-hmm. So when you move the record around, it controls the MP3 back and forth. Okay. So just that way you just have 2 records.
So that's how you can scratch.
You can scratch, and you only have 2 records. You don't have like 100 records that you would have normally with records. So you've got 1 record here, 1 record here. You load up a track and say, hey, make this track link to this record, and then it plays out through the mixer.
So those records never come off the decks.
Yeah.
They're the whole time. So that's kind of a good thing, because as we had talked about previous to our recording, how, my first burn back in 2005, it was vinyl. We didn't have CDJs available to us like that. You had to have a lot of money, and who the fuck was going to bring brand new technology I mean, you gotta be out of your mind.
Thousands of
Well,
thousands.
it happened in year number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you know, eventually you do bring your records out there, and those are officially Burning Man records because you'll never get that play out of them.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is that
the vinyl actually melted.
See, I've had that happen too.
Totally
but
did.
the thing about those is nice
Couldn't
is that they're
use it
pretty
anymore.
cheap to have those records, so you can bring those to Burning Man and just use those as burn records and just go buy a new set for the default world.
So let's talk about that some more. So hold on, you get on that art car.
So I get on this art car
So did
and
you took the needles with you? You already had them?
no, they already had the
They had the
setup.
setup, okay.
Yeah, they had the setup. I mean, this was they were legit. I mean,
Right.
the
You
Dirty
just plug and
Beatles.
play.
Yeah, I just plugged my laptop and that was it. And
Your
so,
laptop's where you had all your music saved.
Yeah. So, and that you know, I was playing anything from, say, like, what did I like back in the day? Electro. A lot of electro.
girl.
It still gets
Oh,
me.
girl,
I
it
don't
still
play
gets
it
me
that
too.
much.
And it sucks
'Cause I
because it
can't
was
just
only
be
good for
jumping
this
down.
period
Yeah, it was
of
good
time.
for like
Yeah.
2 years.
And then
Oh,
the
you know
dub
what?
stack took over, and it was like, fuck.
And I played
Yeah.
that too, but
Right, yeah, literally right in 2009.
Seriously, dude, it had its brief little sunshine and.
yeah. No, you know what? Sometimes I do like to creep
Okay.
those songs in. They have some techno songs.
Dude,
definitely have
you would
that
really like
driving
Wrench?
electro bass
You would really
line.
like Joe Mon. You need to listen to Joe Mon. He plays
Send me the
he
links.
makes some of the best electro you'll ever fucking hear, girl. It's
Love
no
it. I
joke.
still
Is
love
that
it.
French electro?
That
I'll
was
hook you up. I'll hook you
awesome.
up.
Awesome.
Did you bring a flash drive?
Oh, that was the one thing. It was in my car.
Yeah, I'll hook her up with a whole fucking folder of Joey's shit.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
you go
Spreading
out on
that
the art
love,
car.
Joey.
You got on the art car. How long you out there? How long you spent?
Oh man, we just took it for an art tour, and that was the first time because I was in an art car where, like, you know, on a bike, there's only so much you
Wait,
can
was
see
this
before
Monday?
you go. That was my birthday on Monday.
On Monday, okay, yeah, because they do the art tours like back when they used to,
Yeah.
because then they still had like the core and all the effigies and stuff up. So that's when they
it
would do
was
those
on the
big art
cargo.
tours.
I mean, it was
still-
on the
I know they
book,
still do it,
like
but-
super official.
That's
like,
cool. Yeah, good
So
for
we
you.
definitely saw the most amazing sculptures
Alright.
that I had never seen in art. Like,
And you got a claim to fame. You were the Rockstar Librarian then. Your first fucking burn. I can't say that. I didn't think we had the Rockstar Librarian.
there was
back
one
then.
year, it was funny, my last year actually from the burn, which was 5 years later after that, I was in the Rockstar Librarian more times than Blondish.
Oh shit! Hey, high five, girl. Shit, that's
I mean, granted, it was on really weird places, like, you know,
he-
Disorion and like Steampunk Saloon.
Oh,
and,
that's
like,
so funny.
You know, like,
He's the only one that's in there more than Daft Punk.
That's funny. Well, actually, that leads me to my next question. Is there... most of the time when you guys out there, like, you have a USB stick? What do you take with you?
Okay, so here's how the progression of that has went. Back in the day, vinyl, as we went into the digital age, obviously CDs, and we had our many complications with that. Because back then, the CDJs would overheat so easily, start skipping, not to mention the dust problems. I ran...
What's back then? How far back are we talking about?
All right, so I ran the DJ program for the Cabana Club for 3 straight years between the years of 2012 and 13, 14, 15. No, that's not right. 2011, 12, 13. I believe that's correct.
Ish. Okay.
11, 12, 13. And, you know, before that I was with, like, the petting zoo, and it was just, you know, we'd call up guys, hey, all right, I got this. You'll bring the amp. He'll bring some speakers, and we're trying to fucking coalesce this together. But running that program, I had a bit more access to, all right, he's going to buy the sound system for the camp.
Right.
And every year we upgrade it. And, you know, one year I shit through 3 pairs of CDJs the first day.
Fuck!
And I had 50 DJs throughout the week, all lined up. Just a couple big names on there. I think
Holy
DJ
shit.
Dan was one of them. So I had to go. This is actually
So,
how
I'm sorry,
my
just quick. So, like a DJ Dan, for example, he's coming out with a stack of CDs.
Well, at that time, most DJs were still playing CDs. It was this weird period. Well, this is when I first realized, I'm like, oh, fuck, because we had a set of 200s.
Right.
And the only thing that would work on the 200s is a flash drive, because they were the first ones that Pioneer put out with a fucking USB in it.
Right.
So I was like, the CDs weren't working. We had those a couple years at this point, and they just weren't. So I said, fuck it. And I started telling everybody that next year, all my DJs, look, you can play, but you have to be on a flash drive. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, dude, plug it in no skipping, no dust problems. We can put tape over the fucking CD slot, and not have to worry about it and save this equipment. So I had to actually go over to Tetrion at the point, and this is where I met my boy Chantal Don from Oahu, and because I was still in Maui at that point.
Chantal Don's a good name.
He's a good guy, dude. I wish you would have met him. How you would have stopped on my campus here, you would have met the guy. Just a really good friend of mine, and I was like, dude, I need a set of decks. This is Hawaii camp. I'm in Maui. Yeah. Hook it up, please.
So
help us out.
Three CDJs.
Three CDJs already. 3 sets of CDJs already, and I'm like, I need.
Hold on. What exactly happened to them?
Yeah, explain that.
Dust, probably.
We had had them this whole time, and actually, he had a new pair that he brought, the 200s, and it was the dust and the heat, man. They just were not having it. So the dust got into the plant. And it just literally, even with the flash drives, would not play anymore. Like it was just you put it in, just skip, and it was like
the dust is fucking.
He didn't clean them out in between burns is really what it came from, and so these things just crapped out. So,
or there was a drink that spilled on one, and now it's like sticky.
Yeah, it's just Burning Man. Fuck, playa happens, man. So, we had to barter for this because there was no booze in their camp that year. They had 300 people in this camp and no booze. And I'm like, dude, I have a mountain of alcohol.
Nice.
I'll be back. And I come back with 2 drop-dead gorgeous butt-naked girls, and we're all just carrying booze, dude. Fucking handles and cases of beer. And, oh, man. And I'm like, here you go. And he didn't even get the okay to take the deck. We literally went and found a vehicle that could carry the coffin and borrowed this vehicle and grabbed it from the stage at Tetrion, and we're like, we'll be back in like 8 hours. And he brought him all the way over for me.
4 days later.
And, no, man. And he left.
Okay.
And he came back like 6 hours later.
Hold on. Did they not need the CDJs?
They had 92 DJs booked that week.
Okay.
They needed the decks.
So you just like took their show?
Hijacked the fucking show from them. And I can't remember the big name. It was like Christopher Lawrence or somebody. It was a huge name I had booked that year. And
Christopher Lawrence.
I can't.
Throwback.
Yeah, seriously.
It was an old school name. I can't. I would have to go through my records and look exactly at who it was.
It's an interesting side note. You know how I met Christopher Lawrence? I was working in downtown
San
Diego.
Love him, man. He's amazing.
He was running around downtown looking for soup for his sick wife.
Aww.
And he comes by and he stops me, and I'm standing there in front of this club that I used to work for, and he walks up.
God.
And he's like, hey, do you know where I can get some soup? I'm like, you look really familiar to me. Where do I know you from, man? And he's like, I'm Christopher Lawrence, the DJ. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, let me find you soup.
Yeah. It's so nostalgic to an experience I had in Playa del Carmen with my ex who was sick. Yada, another day for another story. But
another podcast.
Yeah, another podcast. Exactly. That's fucking hilarious. Now, he's a great guy, but it was that day. It was my biggest day of the week, and what am I gonna fucking do, man?
I thought Christopher Lawrence still brought out like vinyls. I mean, this is Burning Man, though.
This is Burning Man, dude. Nobody was vinyl anymore unless you. I mean, unless you're just making a statement.
Unless you have hundreds of dollars.
I'm being a stubborn old fuck. Fuck you. I'm playing my vinyl. Like I know guys that do this.
Is it even possible to do that at the Burn? I mean,
it is. It just
never on a dust storm. Like it's.
But even at that, even the second you expose that record because of the static electricity that builds up on those records, dude. It's just a fucking magnet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done coke off a record, but that is the coke record after that because it doesn't come the fuck out, dude.
Sit and think about it for a second.
Oh, dude, it used to happen to me all the time playing back in the day, dude. People would come up, that sounds really good, and just pour a big line of K or something right on your record. That's playing.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck! What are you gonna do? You can do it. You do it. You fucking dude, good luck.
Yeah, that sounds like a dick move. Can we tell people not to do that when you're just playing a record?
Well, usually those people know you.
Okay, all right.
Hopefully. Otherwise, I mean, I have seen a random person as another DJ was spinning pour beer on a record before.
Whoa.
Oh, he got his ass fucking hardcore, dude. Yeah. Hardcore.
So let me ask you guys this: in all your experience, what is the most? You think it's the dust that most often fucks the equipment up?
Well, you got to understand that the alkaline in the playa, and it's also 60%. Shout out to your podcast. Absolutely. The playa is a huge part silica, as well as apparently 40% human hair, according to Nikki, who's running around here somewhere.
40%? All right.
She went to, they have the statistics down at Center Camp.
And it's 40% human hair?
Apparently they've done these studies and it's like 40% human hair. Nikki, can you weigh in on this?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to fact check this for sure. I don't remember the exact statistic, but they had a big banner hanging in the back of the Earth Guardians booth that said, "Did you know
that the playa is 40% human hair?
Is made of, or it's comprised of 40-something% human hair?" And I'm like, "Fucking what?"
Well, and I think
from what year?
Exactly. Well, because they moved the playa.
Everything's going on out here, and I'm just like.
Well, they move the playa every year.
They move Black Rock City
but
every
they
year,
stay still in the same spots. I think they have 4 spots or something that they move it around to prevent as much wear and tear on the playa.
Right.
But the alkaline in itself just fucks any electronic equipment.
Do you find that that's a bigger problem for your equipment than like the heat?
Yeah, definitely.
Let them answer.
Well, I think, I remember one year just coming back, for some reason, I thought that I could take my CDJs out there because I guess nobody else had any. Now, come to find out, nobody else wanted to take them for this reason. Right. So I had to just get them professionally cleaned. And so he, my Chino, amazing sound guy from LA, he just unscrewed it and then showed me everything that was in there. And he took one of those but it was like, it was that, I think, was definitely what messed it up. It just like stopped working. I couldn't, and also the sun too, and I couldn't just see anything that was digital.
Yeah. It's a combination of them. Yeah.
You can see, I'm sorry, that's a good example, because there's listeners here who are looking to spin out there, and like they're probably like, there's these thoughts that they're having out there. So one of the things that they should probably look out for, you're saying like the sun, being able to literally read what music you're playing on.
Important. It's so important.
How do you fix that? How did you fix that?
Well, so in the
as we both do.
Definitely,
every DJ
I gotta rig some cardboard.
Right,
I taped it up.
Hold on, listeners who can't see what Tony just did. What they did is they held their hands up, and this is when you're covering up the screen. So you
when you're looking into the distance and you do that motion over your eyes of you're covering the sun, like you have a baseball cap on, but you're still doing it.
Good. That's a good description of what you.
It's that same motion, because every DJ that's ever played at Burning Man in the daytime knows that. Even at night,
in the daytime.
DJ
in the daytime.
At my camp, dude, we had tons of shade over our shit. Did not matter. The sun was in that position. And
at one point.
And I mean, I had a huge problem with it this year just because the sun literally shut down the decks as I was playing, because they would just stop playing.
Yeah.
It's too fucking hot. It's 115
when it gets
degrees.
It's just like a computer, just like.
Well, and here's the thing: you have a dual effect of the sun and the playa dust, because every couple seconds. Yeah. It's recovered with a new layer of playa dust, so you have to constantly be wiping your screens.
There should be some Burning Man CDJs with like a built-in fan.
Okay. Now, I've seen many rigs throughout the years of like guys that, you know, like how a scientist has like a box that has like a biohazard in it, and they put their hands in the gloves that are in the box, so they can just take their hands out, but they're not actually in the box. They're just. So, literally, I've seen it at Burning Man where you plug your flash drive in to this port that sticks out.
Sorry, what is that box called there?
Biosafety cabinet.
Biosafety cabinet, got it.
Okay, there we go. Thanks for the
appropriate terminology.
That's
important.
Literally, you put your hands in this box.
Biosafety
DJ, and it's completely hermetically fucking sealed.
Wow.
Decks. And they have basically a wire that goes into the USB and you plug into the top. And then they just out the USB and you plug in, and that's how you fucking DJ, dude. And then they have like the mixer shrink wrapped.
That's funny. I haven't seen those.
And so you have your knobs, you have your shit, and that's I've seen this shit, dude.
Right.
I've seen some cheaper versions of it. But
so that's just like basically the opposite version of what photographers do. Is we wrap up all the cameras in like nylon and everything.
They just encase it all, and that's how. And it was the weirdest feeling to like DJ in these hermetic latex gloves and. If you got a latex allergy, you know, they had to like warn DJs before they played.
Dude, it reminds me of growing up, like whenever we would get new electronics in the house, the plastic cover never came off the remote. Like especially being brown, like you're like, this is very expensive technology. We're not going to actually touch the remote. That was
my grandma with her couches, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking plastic wrap couches. I'm like, what is the point?
Hey, you're brown too.
Give me a week at Burning Man, dude.
Is there any like what other examples have you guys seen of like people that are dealing with the overheating? Because like one example that's popping into my head is my creative partner Chris. Like on his old laptop, it kept overheating while he's like creating music on there. So he had like 3 different fans just aimed at the fucking computer. But like the fan doesn't do much when you're on plyo because all it's doing is orchestrating the heat.
I mean, honestly, I've done everything from literally putting the decks on fucking bags of ice. Putting just a towel between them and setting them on bags of ice with fucking fans on them.
Wow.
We actually built a DJ for or for Utopia, which is it's an LED DJ booth that we built. It's in the backyard. It's a $3,000 LED DJ booth.
Oh.
And so the whole front of the DJ booth is all LEDs, and you can do whatever you want on it. And we have a podium even to interact with that while the person's playing. But underneath, that's where it gets fun because I fucking built drink racks and a fluffer stool.
Back to the heat though.
And we put all these fans in throughout it that would draw in the cooler air. And so as you're standing there DJing, literally it's like being in a wind tunnel. It's fucking epic. And we got these big computer fans, these really strong industrial ones, and we fucking mounted them all up in there. So you're standing there and it just cools you down as well. But the decks are actually set into the DJ booth, so they sit down in, so the fans are actually cooling, and it's almost like they're insulating the decks a bit and cooling the decks as you play.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so we've come up with a few ideas, but in reality, there's only a few things you can actually do.
Yeah, you just gotta give the gear a break.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, and when it was happening at Burning Man this year, like I'm done. It happened twice. I let it happen twice, and I just shut it down.
I imagine the bigger camps have multiple sets of equipment that they just cycle.
Well, we did, but we only had one set of CDJs this year. And they were my buddy's CDJs, and the problem with them is they're a little bit dated. You know, if you go out and you buy yourself a brand new pair of 2000s, they were old school 900s.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So the very first 900s that had the USB in them, and he just had them and brought them to so many fucking burns. And here's the thing, he's kind of a purist when, like I am, like, I don't like to clean off my stuff from the dust because I like the dust. When I'm home and I'm like, oh, it's still dusty. Like, I love that nostalgia.
I had Martin, who's actually been a guest on this show. He built the Utopia Temple a couple years ago. I remember I told him that same thing, like, oh, I really like the dust on my tent. He's like, yeah, but let me explain to you what's happening with the alkaline.
It's literally destroying your shit, dude. Yeah,
it is slowly eating all of your equipment. It's eating your tent. So, like, he's like, I appreciate that, but you're just going to lose your tent, like, way sooner. So, like, that same DJ deck, for example, would it be safe to say that the more you leave the dust on there, the lower the lifespan of the decks as a whole is shorter?
You have to weigh that also to this, though.
Hold on. Gina thinks yes, it is. Tony thinks no.
I think because, well, here's the thing. You're bringing it to Burning Man.
Yeah.
It's gonna get fucked up.
So fuck it up sooner?
So you're gonna have to replace it. If you bring it to Burning Man, at some point, inevitably, you're gonna have to replace it. Yeah. You take care of it the best you can, but it's inevitable. I've been out there 13 going on 14 years now. You know how many fucking tents I've been through in that time?
But was the best you can, meaning don't clean out the dust?
No, when you get home, clean out your equipment should definitely be cleaned the fuck out because you use it. It's an investment. It's your livelihood. If you're a DJ, you guys know what I'm talking about. This is what you do. Yeah. We didn't bring our decks to the fucking playa this year for a fucking reason. I knew decks were going to be out there. I knew decks were going to be available because you have Burning Man decks and you have default decks.
No, that's actually, that is my next question, and I want to hear from all three of you what your specific tips and tricks are on how to clean decks after you bring them back from the burn.
Let's just start with her.
You want to start with Gina?
I mean, you know, you were saying about it's inevitable, and I've taken decks before, and I think it's all a matter of how you take care of it. You know, is 100%. How it's going to last long. Because I've had plenty of decks where, you know, the first ones I would just wring them through the mud, and I didn't care, and that's exactly how long it lasted.
Not literal mud. Maybe literal mud.
Playa mud.
It's still pretty muddy at times.
Yeah, so these actually, and then I've gotten all the full spectrum of the scale where I've owned the ones that I do now, and there is no way that I even want to take them anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, even friends that want to pay me for these Nexus 2000s, and they're
fuck that.
if I'm not going to be there and I don't know you, I can't really lend my babies out.
Yeah.
So
You can pay me as much as they're worth.
I want to hear like an actual like what do you do when you clean? Do you get a rag? Do you use like
it's that
you have
it's
to
that
open
little,
it apart.
Well, and sometimes you use that spray that you buy for cleaning out computers.
It's
that
one of the
works
best
really
things
well.
to remove the playa dust in
The
vinegar.
compressed air.
Vinegar, a 50-50 water vinegar solution with like a Q-tip on
your
all of your
decks?
contacts. Well, because it'll evaporate.
Okay.
Vinegar evaporates just like alcohol does, and if you're doing just a 50-50 solution, it's not. That's the standard solution you use to break down the alkaline on playa. That's what they recommend. That's the B-Morg recommends that you use on your feet, on your body, or whatever.
And you're doing it with a Q-tip, is what you're saying?
A Q-tip, get in and just do it to your contacts. Like blow it all out with a can of air, and then whatever is left in the nooks and crannies, get in there with that Q-tip. And even at that rate, like there's still going to be, because the playa dust is one of the finest sediments on the planet. It's like 0.04 of a micrometer. You would definitely have to fact check that, but I believe that's fairly accurate. And I know this because a couple of years ago, we brought a hot tub. I hope nobody from the B-Morg hears that. To Burning Man.
Assume they will.
Assume they will. I know, right? And it was a little hot tub, but we did it right, and we had to
The
buy.
other things he said he's not worried about, by the way, that the hot tub is going to be on.
Yeah, when you can Google fucking Burning Man blowjob, and there I am. It's not a joke, dude. I literally actually was doing a search on it this morning because she had made a mention to me of like, have you ever done a search on this image? Because it's my favorite image. And
Burning Man blowjob, that's what.
And so I did a search on it, and it's been literally on like 32 different websites.
Yeah,
is this image that's just been? It was this whole
gone
thing.
Viral.
It's a fantastic story. Yeah. But I'm not going to get into it because it does take me a hot minute to tell it. So it comes down to cleaning your shit. Do it right, do it diligently, and there's a few things, just like on playa, blowing out your shit with an air compressor is one of the best things you can do before you pack it.
So there's that, like cleaning your gear. The older gear wasn't constructed as well as the newer gear is. The screens are much brighter now on like my XDJ 1000 MK2s. The screen is really super bright,
and you can preset that through Record Box.
Right, exactly. The new Nexus 2 CDJ 2000 screens much brighter because Pioneer reacts to the DJs. They will listen to you and make it big. So the construction is better. I mean, the thing with the Pioneer the 2000s is they're $5,000 for a pair.
Right, exactly. Right? But you are getting what you pay for.
Yeah, you get what you pay for, and like we're all artists. Like a lot of us don't have 5Ks sitting around to just blow and be like, all right, well that's just my Burning Man pair. So it's hard to take that risk out there unless you're a fucking Robot Heart or a Mind Warrior that we have plenty. 6 pairs of CDJs here that aren't going to be a problem. Take care of your gear. If you're not using it, cover it up, store it. Don't just put a blanket on top of it because that dust will go right through that blanket.
Tarp. Blankets and tarps.
Yeah.
This is on playa.
On playa.
Or stored away in the coffin.
Well, with layers, because that's a lot of things you'll see out there is people with certain shade structures that have layers upon layers upon layers of shade because you're cutting down the playa dust, you're cutting down the heat. Mm-hmm. And if you do that at night, every night, actually, we tore down our decks every night and put them in the coffin and put them back in the RV or whatever because it really is the safest bet. If you're bringing decks to playa and you don't want them to get that fucked up, minimize the exposure to the playa.
Right.
Don't just walk away from the decks when you're done playing and leave them because you want to go get a fucking drink.
And you can't risk somebody, just coming up and manifesting some decks and jacking them.
Well, the second you turn around, you turn around, a gust of wind could come and fucking just, not even a storm, just a little gust, just covers, and now all of your connections are fucking coated. So the best thing to do if you are going to leave your decks on the stage, I usually take like multiple layers of towels and then a couple layers of like tarps and then hunker it down so it doesn't get blown off during the wind, any windstorm that could kick up at any random moment or whatever. But you're also helping to insulate a bit more because everybody knows the best form of insulation is air.
Yeah.
You know, insulating that in a few layers, you're going to help cut down on heat, exposure to the sun, and the elements. So it really, it's just
the best form. I'm sorry, best
practical
form of
judgment.
insulation is
Air.
Air. Think about it. That's why we have like attics and stuff in your houses to give you that buffer between the hot and the cold, and between your walls. Yeah. You have insulation. Yeah. That insulation is to fill that air.
Double pan windows.
But that insulation is packed full of what? It's full of air.
Yeah.
To hold those temperatures separate from either side. That's
very cool.
Yeah. So double pane windows. Yeah. That's why you can have them in all temperate climates, because there's air in between that gives you that difference.
Right.
Yeah. Everything's that's the best form of insulation. It truly is. So
take care of it. Okay. So that was going to be one of my questions. Is that where the decks are sitting throughout the day? Does that affect them being able to play at night? When the heat has been hitting it all day. But if you're storing it properly, or does that mean it doesn't matter at all?
No, it doesn't, because the temperature is different at that point.
Yeah.
The only thing that would affect it is the ply.
So the temperature only affects it as like you're in the middle of using it.
Right. And that's like extended use. It has to be really hot. Like this year was an extremely hot year.
I have never seen that temperature that long.
Like the year before was the dustiest year.
2011 was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Well, in 2013 was the one that I feel like everybody kept saying was.
And 2015 was pretty brutal too, because remember I was doing the project for SD Cap. It was a branch off of SD Cap with Meg and Paul and all of them, and we were doing one of those projects underneath the man that
the highest balls,
highest Dr. Highest balls, exactly. That was a blast, which was very challenging project for the simple things that we had there. Yeah. Doing a fucking high striker.
That was the year.
Not easy.
That was the year that Nav and I worked on the Wanderlust Arcade.
Yeah, we had 2 projects out of SD that year. That was a big year for SD.
Yeah. That was a big year. But the dust, when we were trying to break down that fucking thing, the dust storm just started.
Oh,
and it didn't stop.
Friday?
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Did not stop.
Well, the thing about that Thursday was the cold. Okay, never in my life at Burning Man have I had to put clothes on when the sun is still fucking out. And it was so fucking cold that day. Yeah. I was pissed. I was so upset. I was out on playa having fun. And I'm like, oh, I'm freezing. I should probably put some clothes on. I have to go all the way back to camp. And I think that's probably the most pissed off I've ever been out there in my life.
You have to put clothes on.
And the sun is still out, and I'm at Burning Man, and I have to put clothes on, and I can't yell at anybody about this.
Your life is so tragic.
Fuck! I like swinging dick. Dude, sorry, man, but that's just my fucking way.
I want to know this. Based on you guys' experiences, what is the one piece of advice you would give to a DJ who's never been out there, who's never spun out there,
that wants
the thing that you absolutely could not have predicted in a million years that you would end up needing? And this is about you specifically. It doesn't mean necessarily. What was something that came to your mind as like, shit, I could have never predicted that this is something that I would need?
Oh, that's so simple.
And then I experienced what it was like to not have it. And now I will never I'll make sure to never fuck that shit up.
I think I can answer this for everybody.
Really?
Please.
I'm dying to hear that.
Your 1/8" jack, dude. The 1/8" jack, the simplest piece of equipment. And when you don't have it on play, you got your flash drives, you got your fucking headphones, you got your crew, your mob, and you got your drink. You get there and you go to plug in. Motherfucker. Anybody got an 1/8" jack? You're asking to a crowd of burners. Anything could happen. There's a half a chance that some random drunk dude's gonna come up and be like, "Yeah, I just found this on the playa," I would have to say it. Dude, that's it. Like I've
that with you at all times.
Have make sure you have your headphones, your fucking music, and your goddamn 1/8". So I don't want to be drumming on this shit.
Yeah, let's see what that sounds like.
Yeah,
it's so fucking important. Just the basic necessities. I mean, who I wish could have been here today, Jared Bailey, DJ Humble Guy. I've never seen anybody in my life.
Okay.
I've never seen anybody in my life who can lose a flash drive. This dude gets one of those, 256 giggers and puts all of his shit on there, and a day on play and it's gone. I'm just like, dude, you got to.
That's excellent. That's
so,
excellent.
Well, there's a thing you can get, and they're called tiles, and you can put them on your keys, your phone, your anything that you can lose, and you can find it on your laptop or your device or whatever. Yeah. So I have been kind of trying to tell DJs, like, look, it's a flash drive. It comes out of your pocket so easy. Like on my vest, my vest, I have very specific pockets. I put shit that nothing's fucking coming out. You can hang me upside down. Yeah. Nothing's coming out.
Because you don't wear anything else. So the pockets.
But that vest, exactly. It's my utility vest. It's my vest. That thing's been in more fucking burns than probably anybody here aside from me. Yeah. And I make a point, like, all right. One year I did lose a flash drive. This was after the Pink Party 2015. Yeah, I was with Monica here. That's when I did the project for SD Cap, and I started drinking pretty early that day. And the Pink Party, if you've ever been to the Pink Party, that is, you're not gonna leave it walking.
Yeah.
they do this stinky pinky drink, dude, and it oh man.
Hold on, stinky pinky drink?
There was a gin-based drink called Stinky Pinky, bro, and this motherfucker fucked you up. And when I DJ, I drink hard. And I'll put away 30, 40 drinks in a night without batting an eyelash.
Lord.
With a heart condition is not really the ideal thing. So since this
I
year,
was gonna say that.
I'm a man who never loses shit. Like I always know where my shit is. I'm so staunch about not losing things because I hate it. It's such a horrible feeling.
Opposite.
Yeah, not losing everything.
So I have my buddy Sean Saldon's $300 headphones on and all this shit, and I'm so fucked up. I have to get carried off a Calliope, get put into the peace train, because they have these peace trains that you can go and they have beds and stuff, and they just put me in there, and you're in bed, and I get up in the morning and I'm fucking can't even see straight. Go stumbling back to camp, and I got a gig the next day, okay, and if I can go to the gig that night, and I go for my flash drive, oh shit, I don't even have headphones.
Fuck, where's my other jack?
Fuck, wait a minute. Go search my bike real quick. Fuck, I don't have anything. Luckily, I'm redundant. Had an extra flash drive, so I'm still able to play. Borrowed some headphones, still able to play that gig.
Do you copy all the same music to the second one?
I copy because I program everything. Like I'm super meticulous about it. I used to shoot from the hip all the time as a young DJ, and I don't anymore unless I'm tagging. Yeah. It's the only time I shoot from the hip. Everything's fucking programmed.
Tagging means?
Everything is intentional. Tagging 2s, 3s, 1s with other DJs, just
back
roundabout.
back
to back, roundabout. Okay. And so I always am redundant. I usually have 3, 4, 5 flash drives. Just, all right, maybe I need some drum and bass. All right, here's that one for that. But just my main shit, I'll have like 3 or 4 with all the same shit laid out for this gig, this gig, this gig, this gig. I know I'm playing this. I know this is what I'm playing specifically. Every gig's different.
When we were doing like some of the live shows that I was involved in, we would get the set, we would email it to ourselves, email it to everybody else in the crew.
So you guys had it.
Have copies of it on the flash drive, and then have it burned on a CD as well. Because you can get to the show and you don't fucking know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Right,
you don't know what the promoters set up. You don't know like what they're ready for and what they're not.
Yeah.
And just that example you were giving with 8 Jack, like that's. Yeah, it seems like the kind of thing that if you've been DJing for 10 years, like you're like, there's no fucking way this is going to be an issue. It's like
that's the simple things you don't think about. Exactly. And so here's the thing. With
kind of
this
like how most
drive,
car accidents happen closest to your home.
Exactly. Within 2 miles of your home, because you're relaxing and you don't even think about it. It goes out of your mind. Oh, I got that. I'm good. Yeah. So this was my 64 gig Tokidoki flash drive that was given me by a very special friend out in Colorado. One of my sisters out there. And I never lose anything, so it's a big deal when I do. And not only that, I lost not just the flash drive, my buddy's headphones too. Yeah. And I go back to Walter after I play that gig the next morning, like, yo, I've lost this, and this. I need to track this down. And it took till Friday, so I could finally find someone who found the headphones, and they were in the Walters lost and found.
Yeah.
All right. $300 headphones, returned to my boy. Right. Because we had to go borrow headphones. We couldn't even play in camp. It was
it's
ridiculous.
The most embarrassing thing.
It's so embarrassing.
So embarrassing
as a professional DJ, as a veteran,
it's so
I feel like a piece of shit at this point. Yeah. you know, I've been playing a long fucking time, dude, and this is like something that I should never do. So I finally, the next day, go and track down someone who's seen the flash drive, found the flash drive in the playa.
No way.
And threw it away. This Australian dude. And I'm like, you did what? I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you throw a flash drive away? It had its cap on it. Like, it's a pink Tokidoki flash drive. Why would you throw that away?
Could you imagine as a burner being in Black Rock City or being out in Playa and seeing a flash drive and not assuming that this belongs to a DJ?
Just exactly my point. And so I literally just lose it on this dude. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and so my girlfriend at the time has to drag me away from this situation because I'm just, and so cut to 2 hours later.
I'm fucking fuming.
2 hours later, and I'm through the 4th bag of trash from the bar. And I'm not talking just a normal trash bag. I'm talking these big carpenter bags full of who knows what is in there. And I'm just throwing shit across Playa at this point. I don't give a fuck. I'm heated. I need to find this. This is my life in this flash drive. Because that was, like, I had my backups, but that was it was before I got my computer. That was all I had. Yeah. Everything's on there. I'm fucked as a DJ if I don't have this fucking flash drive. Shit. Yeah, it was at that level. So I find this flash drive in the bottom of a puddle of don't even dare to speculate. What goo, and it's just, and I start crying because I'm so stressed out. I'm so freaked out. And Mariko, she's from Japan. She barely speaks English, and she's my girlfriend at the time. She just comes up and she takes the flash drive from me and she fucking cleans it off, and we go back to camp, back to Tetrion. No, it was Pele's Fire at that point. That was the first year of Pele's Fire, which is my camp at Burning Man. And I plug it into the fucking deck, and it works perfectly.
No shit.
Works fucking perfectly. What? Not an issue. All the data is there, all 64 gigs, and I'm just, I start crying again. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe this just fucking happened. Yeah. I'm shaking, and then we just played the rest of it. I drank hot toddies and fucking played and played.
That's amazing.
You know, a lot of people don't know. The thing about electronics are, it's not a problem that they get wet. It's a problem that there's power.
Or if there's salt water also.
Salt water will fuck it up.
If it's not powered and it gets wet, it's easier to clean.
It does, yeah. It'll just dry out, and the electronics will work fine.
But the electricity
is what shorts it.
But like, if you've ever been into the ocean and you've had a lighter with you in the ocean, and you come out and you go to light it, and the flint just explodes and breaks off. Same thing with electronics. The second it gets in the salt water, it's fucked for life. It will never work again. Yeah. The salt literally destroys.
There's one thing we're not concerned about at Burning Man.
You'd be surprised. I got stories, man. I got stories. I can fill your podcast for the rest of the year, bro.
So, one piece I want to know from you guys too. One piece of advice, one thing that you would have never predicted.
Oh man.
I am gonna step out of my DJ shoes for this question and say, as a woman, it's a tampon.
That's the most important thing to have out there because you never know.
I don't really want to go into the bloody details, but let's just say, thank goodness for friends.
Because let's face it, you're not playing records I'm not even going to finish with the record.
Hey, actually, that might be the saving grace for the entire camp at that point, my friend. Darling, go play all the records you want. Get it out. Work it out. Get the frustration. To
all you DJs, make sure you bring your tampons.
I've actually known women that have shown up with no tampons at Burning Man, and then they start like 4 days into it, and they're just like, and I'm like, dude, you know how many broads out here? Like,
no, but that was one thing that I actually manifested, where it was like a moving art car again.
That's
I was DJing,
funny.
And all of a sudden, you just feel the flow. And then I just turn around and I just say, oh my God, I would
You were on the decks at the time?
Yes, I was DJing.
Yeah!
I couldn't go anywhere, So
now that's a bloody story.
So then I just turned around and I was like, oh my God, like, anybody have a tampon? And my girlfriend, just busted out of her belt, and she's like, as a matter of fact, I kind of do.
Yeah. That crowd was not expecting
There you go.
that.
And, I had to change up and plug it in right there and there. And I kept going.
So you just hold on. You just didn't have it with you at that moment,
right?
Right? Okay.
No, but
you didn't bring it in your playa.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I just didn't expect it. Actually, it was early.
I would have one on my belt.
Yeah.
And like my backpack of all the things.
All right. Let's go with that. Let's go with worst moments on the decks on playa.
Yeah, hold on. I want to know. That is an excellent. I want to get to that. I want to hear worst moments. That one. That sounds magical. But I want to hear Nav. One piece of advice.
Yeah. So definitely you want backups of everything. Yeah. That's always key in DJing in general. But one thing I know I've experienced at Utopia this year is validate your files after you've transported them onto the USB.
Explain what that means.
So make sure they pick up, make sure they play. Go through a couple tracks and see if it registers onto CDJ.
Right.
Because you think they got transferred fine, and they didn't.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you use Rekordbox?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, because if you don't use Rekordbox, as a DJ in this world, it's not going to fucking work right.
Right.
Well,
you're asking for trouble.
Intentionally, I believe they intentionally design it so if you're not using Rekordbox, you see how the BPM will fluctuate.
Right.
It doesn't sound quite right.
Yeah.
And then you think you have lined everything up on Rekordbox and you have your playlist all set with your order and everything, all the keys matched up, all the BPMs lined up, everything is so set. Then you get into the gig and you plug in and all of a sudden there's no folders. There's just tracks and they're
verify
listed.
Your files, exactly.
And so I guess...
Hold on, what is verify files?
Yeah, please tell me because I needed to do that.
Nav is going to explain this. I was watching you, by the way. You were spinning at Perky Parts and you were like flipping through and none of the songs...
like fucking just air.
Now that could be that they haven't updated their firmware also.
Right, there's a number of different scenarios that can happen here, but what I mean by verifying your files is like, it's like copying a JPEG from one device to another. You want to open up and make sure it actually reads.
Was it like analyzed?
And it wasn't just the thumbnail that copied over or something.
Right, yeah. Or the file got corrupted for whatever reason.
So your best course of action would be to just plug it in the CDJ if you have CDJs at home.
Right. Like once you do the transfer, just pop it in and like look at the latest files that you transferred over because those are the ones that are more than likely to not have gone over appropriately. Just press play and
what was your particular situation?
So here's what happened. So I only got Pioneer gear middle of this year, so I'm still kind of new to using Rekordbox. I'd been using when I started DJing, it was vinyl, then CDs, then I went to Serato, then I went to Tractor.
You have the same progression I did.
And then now I'm like, well, I want to start playing out, and you can't play out on. You can with Serato, or you just still want to show up with a laptop and a bunch of gear to a gig and be like, make space for all my shit. Yeah. It's much better to show up with a fucking USB and be like, I'm ready to play in under 20 seconds. Yeah. Versus, I need to do sound check, I need to set this up. Like, it's just the best advice Chris James gave me when I was trying to decide between, actually, I was looking at getting the S8 that you have, or actually the breakaway pieces. I think they're called the D8s.
Yeah, they're like half the size.
They're half the size. And
they're cute.
And they're cool, and they do all the things, and they're cheaper than the Pioneer gear. And then he's like, that's great. Like Chris is like, that's great, but you're not Richie Houghton. And
honestly, those things have so many bells and whistles, dude. You don't fucking need all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not that complicated.
A lot of people do mix up Nav for Richie Houghton.
Yeah.
Well, it's just most of us aren't even at that level. Most of us are DJs. We're not these big shot producers. We don't have the capabilities of using what that thing can fucking do.
Right, yeah, you're not going to do half the things that it can do. So this year what had happened is I had one USB that's 32 gigs and one that's 64. And I've got a couple other ones, but I like these two metal ones because they're indestructible, right? So I'm one of those DJs where I just like having a plethora of my music there and not like, these are the 20 songs I'm going to play tonight, because you need to be really flexible to the crowd, the vibe. You just don't know, like, you have an idea in your head of like, this is how my set's going to go. Right. And then you get there and like people aren't vibing, or it's vibing really quickly and like, oh, well shit, I wasn't going to start playing this song until an hour into my set, I'm like, well, no, you're playing it now.
Yeah.
And now you don't have tracks for the next hour because all your big room time, like fucking peak time stuff is being played way earlier than you expected it to. So
y'all need to listen. This is real shit right here.
So,
this is real shit.
Or when you thought you were playing Sunset, but then
this
is real shit. This is real talk, dude.
Something happens. You need to be flexible. That's like when I was open.
You gotta read your crowd. You have to read your crowd. If you want to be successful, if you want to be a DJ that wants to be heard, you have to read your crowd.
Right. Yeah. Like I mean, it's all like planning out your sets. All
programming.
That's
all about
good.
Programming.
Like do that, but also have the ability to be ad hoc. At every single
Realize
track.
This shit ain't working. I gotta switch this up real quick.
Yeah, so my last year that I went to the Burn, that was 3 years ago, I remember going in to, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, like the signs that they put.
Oh, I love those signs.
And
I love them.
So literally I was reading and reading.
On that gate.
Yes, on the
when
gate.
You go to the gate,
Like just driving into the Burn, right? Just waiting in line. And so one of the quotes that I will never forget, because it has definitely changed my life. And it said, it's not about the survival of the fittest that will make it, but it's those that are willing to adapt that will survive.
Yeah. Right.
See, I like that.
Game changer
I like
in my life.
Well, I think it's like a correct description of what... fuck, I'm blanking.
Land the plane, sir. Land the plane.
Literally blanking on a... that was the whole point of what Darwin was... Isn't the whole point of what Darwin was saying?
What survival of the fittest means that you... fittest are the ones
Well, see, we had a saying like that in 2013 when we were building the core for Maui. That big effigy was... We didn't say it would be worth it. I'm sorry. We didn't say it would be easy. We said it'd be worth it. And that was something that really struck me. Was just a simple quote like that. That was like, you know what? Dig in deeper. Get in there and fucking get it.
I really like the early entry bands from this year.
Not your job, it's your turn.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, I got a keychain from Burning Man last year that says on one side it's all, you're an individual, and on the back it's all, just like everyone else. Burning Man 2016.
So to finish up, what had happened was...
I
had to, I was doing a drum and bass set, which I normally don't play drum and bass. So I had to dig back to like my drum and bass days in the early 2000s. I was listening to a lot of this Asian underground scene out of the UK.
What are they called?
What?
What are they called?
Well, that was a genre, but like people like Nitin Sawhney and Talvin Singh.
Okay.
And, just very like Asian and Indian influenced drum and bass, like liquid drum and bass.
It's good shit.
So, it's great. And it was funny. I was like getting ready for this set. I'm like, the nostalgia back to 2003, being an 18-year-old fucking in my room, like, oh, this is really cool, like England and all this, just the melding between the music I love and the culture I'm from, like, that was the connection point.
That's a good moment.
And I didn't really even realize that until I was listening back to it. I was like, oh yeah, this is a transition in my life where I was connecting my culture to like who I am as an American and who I am as an Indian.
Were you born in this country?
I was born in India.
Cool.
Yeah. So
you have literally no accent.
Yeah. Well, I
but
moved
can you
here.
do it?
Moved here. My accent is the Apu accent, basically.
Oh, come on, let's hear it.
Don't make him do it.
Yeah,
I put him on the spot.
So anyways, what had happened was like I had more than 32 gigs of music to transfer over to the 32 gig, and I was under the impression if you unselected a playlist in Rekordbox, it would remove those tracks.
It does now.
Maybe
not then, but it does now.
But it didn't on this.
Right, because they're literally releasing updates every week. Like now it's on version 5.02 now. Yeah. But anyways,
oh shit, really?
I went in and what I did is I deleted all the tracks off the USB manually, and then I went back in and I said, okay, give me all these playlists, and it starts moving the tracks over, and it didn't move all the tracks. And when I went in and checked the USB and I saw all the playlists were showing up, but I didn't go and actually
check the folders they were in.
Okay.
So
Right.
it didn't prompt you saying that not all the information has been transferred? Because it's done that for me in the past when, like, if you've reached your limit or whatever, it'll prompt you and say not all the information has been transferred. Is this okay?
Right. And
So I just want to clarify this. So it's the playlist transferred over mostly, but not every single track in the playlist.
Well, wait, how do you load it into Rekordbox? How do you load your playlist into Rekordbox?
Well, I have a folder that's got all the music and I drag it into Rekordbox and it analyzes.
But do you build a playlist on the side?
Right.
Okay, so you build a playlist, drag that folder, and just like you should, and then it analyzes.
Right, exactly.
So you're doing it right.
Yeah. So what the problem was is like when I deleted all the files, I didn't delete the playlist folder on the actual USB. So Rekordbox thinks the playlist is there and it already transferred all the songs over. So it only transfers because it's not validating.
I didn't even think about.
It's not actually. Yeah, it's not validating. There's the file already there. It's saying, "Oh, well, the playlist is here. These songs are already on this USB." Yeah. So then it only transferred over the brand new tracks that I had, and those were the ones that I checked.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this set, and like on Utopia, like I had to leave the Friday night to go to a funeral Saturday morning, and I came back to Utopia to do Utopia, and really excited, hop on the decks, I'm like, error, record not found, error, record not found.
Okay, I've actually had a similar experience with this recently.
Backup, right? USB?
Well, that was the thing. It was just a hard day with the funeral, and it was
just not your day.
It was just not my day, bro. And I'm like in the middle of this set, and I'm like, where's my backup? And I go into my tent to go find it, because I have like, I'm playing like a 9-minute track. Like, all right, I have 4 minutes to go check before I have to start mixing the next track. Try to go look for it. Can't find it. And finally, I get to a moment where the track is long enough, and I find my extra USB. I should have carried both of them on.
You're playing like an extra long track so that the audience doesn't notice that you're desperately panicking back there and looking for
Yeah, exactly. Looping the same beat for a long time.
See, I'm sweating. Shit.
Yeah. No, mind you, and again, this is important. I can tell you guys from the audience side, nobody noticed.
Right.
Well, but you gotta understand from a DJ's perspective, we notice. And that's a big fucking deal to us. You guys know when you're playing and you have just that little fuck up, we hear that, and other DJs hear that, and that means something. It means a big fucking thing to me. Like,
it's also a shift of the energy too. Because once you know you're fucked, it's like good luck trying to fake it.
It's keeping your composure and getting I know what I have to do. I have 20 seconds left. I haven't even loaded a track. I know I can make this happen. And you do it because you keep your confidence about you. Now, back to your point, I had a similar experience with that. I loaded recently, before I went to Burning Man, a playlist from 2014, 2015, so that I had just some backup if I'm playing and it's just like, look, I just ran out of tracks, which happens to me all the time because I play 6 to 8 hour fucking sets out there. Ooh. I don't fucking know. All my sets are big fucking sets, dude.
It reminds me of Ricky Park sets.
But that's what I've always done.
Yeah, it's the best.
Big. I just get into my groove after a couple hours, man. Let me work this bitch out.
Yeah, it takes at least an hour and a half.
Dude, I got some shit to say. Give me a minute here.
Yeah.
So I start doing that, and what it would do is if it wouldn't read the file, it'd say that record not found, and then the ones it would, like every other track would play just fine, but there was no readout. It would just say the track and the name, and then I would get the time on it, but no wave whatsoever. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm sitting here going, now, let me give you some context. I'm a fucking pirate.
Okay.
Everybody knows it.
That explains the peg leg.
I pirate my music because I have a certain belief that if I'm playing your music and I'm putting it out there and crediting you, that's fucking free advertisement, and I just paid for your fucking track. Because nobody gets rich off fucking selling records, dude. We all know this. You make your money on the gigs. You don't make money on selling fucking records unless you're goddamn Moby or fucking BT or something where you can sell enough to actually turn a profit. Most of the people, I mean, even Joey, he, brilliant producer, puts so much out there, and the man has a hard time even keeping just that going with what the profit is from that, because you're paying out so much here and there. And
God damn it, Tony! It is an hour and 27 minutes into the podcast, and you're starting literally a whole other podcast that we can talk about.
I got stories.
I can weigh in on the pirating because I used to do it. I was broke.
Well, things have changed now to where I can't get pirated.
But nowadays, you definitely don't get that high quality that
because
you can.
Everything's moved to WAV.
When AIF, and it's just a matter of a difference between playing them in those big sound systems where you can hear crisp, the difference between the bass line, the treble, and the mids. Like, you can't get that off of a ripped 128.
Nope.
Like,
you can't. Not even a 320. You can't even get it off a 320. You can't. It's very true, and that's the big paradigm shift
we're talking
that the industry has happened really lately, and this is a big thing even at Burning Man, is the fact that no longer are MP3s really even that tolerable shit. They want waves, they want the
systems have gotten so good. Like
that an MP3 you can hear.
The systems have gotten so good.
So, like the audio processing in the mixers, the DGM 900 and the Allen and Heath mixers, like the audio cards and then the sound cards are phenomenal.
Yeah. And
the sound systems that we have out there, that was one of the other moments at Robot Heart and Mind Warrior. Yeah. I'm out there and I'm like, I'm an audiophile. Like, I love high quality sound. I'm like, how do they have $100,000 sound system out here? And there's 5 of them. and it sounds fun. I mean, it's some of the best sound systems in the world.
Lasers.
And the lasers, and like, I mean, these are huge cameras. There's a lot of money behind them, but like, I feel like that's their art. Like, we're giving you a high quality product.
All right, you are now hearing Tony the Man in Pink, as if you haven't heard enough of him already, along with Amanda Marks, the violin girl. If you want to check out more of Amanda Marks, check out her appearance on Burner Podcast Presents Alkaline Session A022 over at alkalinepodcast.com. These two, Tony and Amanda, played a 6.5 hour set over at Camp Walter on Tuesday at the Burn. That's fucking nuts. But we're only going to play an hour of it on this show. If you want to hear the whole thing, you should go bug Amanda and Tony about it on Facebook. Amanda Marks, Tony Pink. That's how you can find them. Maybe you can put it on SoundCloud or something. Anyway, yeah, Tony, you can find him on Facebook by searching for Tony Pink. Gina Calderoni is also on Facebook. You can search her name and follow her flyers announcing her next shows. She's going to be in Costa Rica next month for, I forget the name of the really big festival that happens there. So she'll be performing there. And Nav, of course, can be contacted through the Burner Podcast website over at burnerpodcast.com. Please give us a like on Facebook and join the group. I'd love to see some more discussions happening there, and leave us a review on iTunes. It does help get more visibility to the show so more of our tribe can be a part of this conversation. All the links are over at burnerpodcast.com. And you can connect with me on all the social medias at Mr. Arash. That's MRARASH. Burner Podcast is released on the first and third Wednesdays of the month and is available on Stitcher, iTunes, Spreaker, iHeart Radio, and TuneIn Radio, among others. The show is not hard to find. This episode was produced by myself and a contributing producer, Leia, who was awesome and helped make a big chunk of the show happen. We thank you, dear listeners, for all your support. Our opening theme music, as you heard some stories about today, is America's Horse with No Name remix, produced by Joman. Check out his music over at soundcloud.com/DJ Joman. So until next time, love and light and all that other crap. Good night.
Everybody get down, down, down. truth that you're denying. Give in to the game, to the sense that you've been hiding. Is it desire, or is it love that I'm feeling for you? I want desire, 'cause your love only gets me abused, 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 abused. at night. Seems I can't deny. Some days just pass me by. You know I think I'm feeling much better. 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 I think I'm feeling much better.
Only a fool could walk away from me this time. I look up to heaven, every star I see is mine. Only a fool could walk away from me this time. I look up to heaven, every star I see is mine. Only a fool could walk away from me this time. I'm walking on air. telling that sun to come back. Your figure fading in the gray. Blue skies don't tease me like that, like you do, like you do. I'm feeling like the world's about to change when hummingbirds are singing in the rain. Dreaming that I'm standing in the light. Do you love me? Can you feel the sunshine? Make it brighter for me. When that sun comes shining on me. Feels like the storm's holding back. Soon I'll be swimming in the dream. I walk but I fall off the track. But I don't wanna look the other way, and I don't wanna wake up in the pain, dreaming of that rainy summer day. Do you love me? Can you feel the sunshine? Make it brighter for me. When that sun comes shining on me. I said, can you feel the sunshine? Make it brighter for me. When that sun comes shining on me. Can you feel the sunshine? Make it brighter for me. When that sun comes shining on me. I said, can you feel the sunshine? Make it brighter for me. When that sun comes shining on me. Can you feel the sunshine? Make it brighter for me. When that sun comes shining on me. I said, can you feel the sunshine? Make it brighter for me. When that sun comes Splashes of ashes sink in the mattress. Tell me that you want it. I want to feel that you want it. I want to feel I want to feel that you want it. I want to feel that you want it. I want to feel that you want it.
There's a humble backing beat, it strives to make me move my feet, but I'm still stuck in my seat, waiting for the hook to hit. There's a humble backing beat, it strives to make me move my feet, but I'm still stuck in my seat, waiting for the hook to hit. There's a humble backing beat, it strives to make me move my feet, but I'm still stuck in my seat, waiting for the hook to hit. There's a humble backing beat, it strives to make me move my feet, but I'm still stuck in my seat, waiting for the hook to hit. There's a humble backing beat, it strives to make me move my feet, but I'm still stuck in my seat, waiting for the hook to hit.
burnerpodcast.com.